Hello, thanks for joining us on your channel of choice at this time, Africa Independent Television AIT. Welcome to Focus Nigeria, your program that puts the searchlight on topical issues in the polity. My name is Benga Aruleba. We are back to the issue of calls for restructuring, devolution of power, and generally all issues topical and shaping the polity at the moment. That's what we'll be doing in our discussion shortly. But let's quickly race through issues trending in the polity in the last 24 hours. The two nominees into the board of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission ICPC, Maimuna Aliyu and Saad Alanamu, whose nomination have been put on hold by the presidency, are denying the allegations against them. Maimuna Aliyu is actually raising a lot of dust, and it has come to light now that she has been engaged in a long-running battle actually with some very powerful forces in her former place of work. That's the ASO Savings. A 3-page petition by her to the Inspector General of Police dated June 21 this year made very startling allegations against some highly placed individuals whom she accused of running down ASO Savings and plunging it into bankruptcy while stripping the government-owned company of everything, funds, assets, and all of that. Names mentioned in our petition include the MD, CEO of the company, Adekunle Adedigba, the former chairman of the company, Tunde Ayeni, names like that of Ifeanyi Uba of Capital Oil and Gas, former FCT Minister Bala Muhammad, and one Hassan Usman. All were documented in her petition, detailing different packages of sleaze and outright stealing. Hopefully, with the promise of the presidency to give the two ICPC nominees fair hearing now, the truth of all of this will be unraveled. And one place the government should beam its searchlight now is the ASO Savings. But then, with this government that moves at the speed of snail, when you expect quick action, speed of light, all this could take a long while. After all, Ikoyi Gate has taken a backseat now. Nobody's talking about it. And still on what is trending in the polity, the $37.5 million Banana Island Lagos mansion, allegedly owned by a embattled former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dizaani Alison Madueke, has now been permanently forfeited to the government. Justice Chuka Obiozo, a vacation judge sitting at the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, Lagos, on Monday ordered the final forfeiture of the building valued at, as I said, $37.5 million, or if you prefer, 11.75 billion naira. The 15-story building consists of 18 flats and 6 penthouses. Justice Obiozo had earlier granted a temporary forfeiture and directed anybody who has a stake in the property to come forward and establish same within 14 days. But at the resumption of the case on Monday, there was no claimant. The judge consequently ordered EFCC to take full possession of the building. Also forfeited to the government is a sum of $2.7 million and 84.5 million naira already realized from the property as rent. The former minister was said to have acquired the eye-popping property, no puns intended. He was said to have acquired the eye-popping property. She has eyes for property, from YF Construction and Estate Farms in 2011 and paid cash in the name of a fictitious company used as a front to an oil prospecting company. The federal government has released the list of the 27 areas where investors in the economy would be granted pioneer status and be entitled to tax relief for some years. The Federal Executive Council took the decision last week to grant pioneer status to companies in some key areas of the economy as part of deliberate efforts to encourage massive investment in the economy. The areas include mining and coal processing, processing of meat and poultry products, processing of starch and starch products, cocoa and cocoa products processing, animal feeds, tanning, dressing of leather, manufacture of leather wares and bags, processing of household hygiene paper products, food and beverages, textile, rubber materials, waste treatment, e-commerce, music production and real estate and all of that. So if you are a prospective investor and you are looking for where to invest your money, these are areas that will bring quick investment because you will enjoy a pioneer status according to the government. All right, and to the Ozobulu killings in Anambra State, a day after the dastardly act, the community seems to have resigned to fate and is moving on. But what do you expect when the theory first spawned by Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State that this was a dispute between two brothers? Now that theory has now been gaining so much traction. What do you expect? And this has overshadowed, I mean, you know, a culture that is completely alien to us. You know, drug war. When did we get to this level? The police commissioner in that state has also told newsmen too that the killer or is it killers were known and that the police has invited them. Can you imagine? And if they don't come forward, then the police knows what to do. Really? That's what this Ozobulu thing has become. It's as bad as that. And take it from me if I tell you that before the end of this week, we would all have forgotten about this Ozobulu issue. We would have moved on. And are we still talking about Evans today? Hell no. We have moved on. Except when some public pressure, as we saw in the case of the Alu 4 5 years ago, which just yielded some results not too long ago, serve to kickstart the process and then we let it grind anyhow it wants to grind on. Then issues like this, we could keep sweeping them under the carpet and that's it. We move on. Anyway, these are the issues that are trending in the politics at the moment. But also some two other developments in the African continent, two African countries really, that are important to us. Voting has already gone underway in Kenya. It's an election that has all the trappings. It could snowball into crisis because it's a hotly contested election. Incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta, from a lineage of very eminent personalities in Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, you remember him? And of course, he's up. Uhuru Kenyatta is up against a familiar foe here, Raila Odinga, also from a very popular lineage. Remember Oginga Odinga. And then in South Africa, will President Jacob Zuma be lucky again? He is up in a popularity vote again. As the South African Parliament votes in yet another no-confidence vote. He has survived many no-confidence votes in the past, but this time is secret voting, and there is the fear that many members of his party, the ANC, may hide under anonymity to vote yes for his removal. So, Kenya and South Africa put Africa continent on the edge this morning. Right. Two Abuja-based lawyers, Godwin Ogboji and Silas Onu, will be joining me for today's conversation after this short break.
They see chaos and conflicts. We see community action for good governance. They see poverty and want. We see perseverance and the will to go on. They see economic law. We see the ingenuity and creative spirit of our people. We are AIT News, fresh, authentic views of Africa. How would you rather see the world? AIT News, all sides, all the time.
Okay, if you just joined us, a very warm welcome to you. We started the conversation for this morning. State of the nation, that's what we are looking at. So many issues trending in the polity. But we will not take we'll probably pitch our tent with the political ones. Pastor Godwin Ogboji is an Abuja-based legal practitioner. Good to see you. It's been a long while.
Thank you so much for having me.
Good to see you again. And good to know that you are surviving this.
Do you have a choice?
But Silas Joseph Onu is not complaining loudly, at least.
No complaints.
All correct.
All correct.
Well, Pastor Onu is also based here in Abuja. Good to see you. I thought that both of you gentlemen will be in Port Harcourt joining your colleagues from Africa at the African Bar Association Conference.
Ordinarily, one should be there, but we have to answer your call from time to time. So some of those will go there, some of us remain behind to talk to you from time to time.
But you are a member, Bar?
Of course.
I think that Barrister Onu says he's not a member.
I'm not a member of African Bar Association.
Why?
Well, I'm not done with Nigerian Bar Association yet.
There's so much in the Nigerian bar.
Let's exploit that one fully.
So much in the Nigerian bar.
Yeah.
But because beyond being a member, at least you learn. You now interact with people from other diaspora and know their laws. And
yeah, but ordinarily that conference should be open to all lawyers in Nigeria if they want to attend.
It is.
But it is. It's not restrictive.
It's not restrictive.
All right, state of the nation. What are your fears, your hopes? And well,
my fears,
generally,
my
any fears at this particular
yeah, my fears are that governance might come to a standstill. Governance might not move on the way we expect it. Yes, we have an acting president.
Come to a standstill?
Yes. Why I say so? You see, typical examples now. We have an acting president sworn ministers, but the ministers have not been assigned portfolios today. Something is wrong somewhere fundamentally. It ought not to be so. We have an acting president that went to Port Harcourt with Governor Amechi, and Amechi refused to come down from the plane. That is subordination in the highest order as far as I'm concerned. That is something that I don't know what is happening.
Where was that?
In Port Harcourt when he went to commission projects.
No.
Hold on. Okay.
That's not correct.
That is not correct.
They went together to Port Harcourt for an official engagement. They finished the engagement. The the acting president had been invited by the host governor to come and commission one of his projects. And you know the politics of Rivers State. And the minister said, well, we finished the official assignment. You can go and commission the governor's project, but I'm not going with you.
Let me tell you something. If a Buhari we are around, no, let's not trivialize it or make it.
I'm not trivializing. I'm just correcting.
But if a Buhari, I'm just trying to tell you.
I'm correcting the information you give. Because when you give the impression that a minister followed the acting president to Port Harcourt and he refused to come down from the plane, it's not true.
Benga, okay, I'm not give on that. Just to tell you my fears.
I'm just giving you the facts.
Thank you so much.
Now, if you want to interrogate the facts from there,
you asked me for my fears. Then I'm not telling you that if a Buhari were there, even if it's a local government project, and they're following on an entourage, as a member of your entourage, I have the obligation to accompany to all spaces. That's what I'm trying to put across. Now, these are things on the surface that we are seeing. We don't know the shenanigans happening beneath. So these are my fears when you ask me about my fears. That's why I said the governance of the country might come to a standstill.
I don't know how that has affected whether Amechi followed the acting president to commission a government project.
I gave you two instances.
I don't know how that.
I gave you two instances.
Yes.
That's not about the minister. So let's
I don't know how that since that incident. I don't know that how has affected the price of fish at Rumokurushi or Rumomoga market or Rumola or any of those rumors in Port Harcourt.
Well, Rivers State is a unique case, and I think Amechi has the right to stay away from Nyesom Wike's activities, considering the nature of their conflict. It's not just, I don't think it's political anymore, it has gone personal. So perhaps you saw that he also stayed away from the state's celebration, Rivers at 50 or so, where they honored him, and he was absent. I was watching that night, and the MC railed out some serious insult against him.
That's the same person you wanted
to honor.
To
Good. So I now said, oh, that is why this man didn't go. He knows they will insult him. So the politics in the state is unique, and I won't blame him for. I'm sure he explained to the vice president, and the vice president understood why he needed to stay away. However, my concern is that governance is being reduced to the level that is becoming dangerous for the nation. If someone has handed over power and want to be away on medical leave, it should be seen that he had handed over power. And the person in charge should actually be seen in charge.
Yes.
I do not understand why people were protesting yesterday, and all of a sudden the presidency was speaking, not the vice president. It's as if Buhari spoke from London and asked his people to make this statement. So that is undermining that office. The president is undermining his own office. If you've handed over to your vice, you should support him to act accordingly. But when he is acting and you're undermining his authority, you're also undermining your own authority, because the people who you appointed personally will not have much regard for the vice, because they believe when it matters, you will intervene. And that is why you can see too that the vice has been unable to allocate portfolios to ministers, because he's looking above his shoulders. He doesn't want to make an appointment and tomorrow they say he's praying for the president to die.
Couldn't he be granted, I'm using that word advisedly, shouldn't an acting president have unfettered and direct access to the president that is indisposed and is on medical vacation. If he needs to consult regularly, because we also should not take the politics of all of this away. Shouldn't he have unfettered and direct access to the president? Because a lot of things are happening. Some of them, you can't even bring them to public domain. For instance, the president, before he took ill, forwarded a list of 27 resident electoral commissioners to the Senate for screening and confirmation. The first batch of 15 were screened and forwarded back to the president to swear in. By that time, he has been away, and the acting president was in charge. You know what? Only 14 names were presented to the acting president. Out of the 15 that came from the Senate, the name of the nominee from is it Kaduna State has been, since then, has been removed by some people said to be in the cabal. Now, in the list that has also been cleared now, 8 or so, we understand that only 7 again has been forwarded to the acting president. Another one has been removed. Again, you ask by who? All of these ideas of people trying to exercise power in the name of a president that is indisposed and may, to all intents and purposes, may not be aware of what is happening behind him. The acting president is also not aware of what people are doing.
He should be. He's aware, but as you rightly said, you should not take away the politics. That is just what I'm saying, and that's my fear. That's what I sounded when I just started talking before maybe other things came up. And he certainly put it forward. That is the fear. It's not a matter of having access to the president. You need not even talk to the president, but for court's sake, you need to talk to the president. But the acting president, for politics' sake,
political correctness.
That's why I say cost. Let's just that will cover everything now. When the letter have been transmitted to the National Assembly, nominating or clearly declaring that the vice president is now acting president, all executive powers of the president should come from the office of exercised by the acting president. At that point, there is no more the vice president. Yeah. He's effectively the acting president with full executive powers. Yeah. But as you rightly said, you cannot divorce yourself from the political shenanigans around the corridors of power that people want to like. Now, when the Zobolo things happen, he's supposed to be the spokesperson of the president to talk. Now you have the president calling Obiano from London. The president's spokesperson spoke. It took a very long while till in the evening before he could even they could clarify who should speak or who not should speak. That's not the point. The acting president, unfortunately, should not be bogged down. Whether you like it or not, there's nothing you are going to do now that people will not still criticize. There's nothing you are going to do that people will comment throughout. So take the bull by the horn and do the needful. The president cannot remove you. I've seen that it is typically a plot on the ground by Atiku and Obasanjo that the presidency is one. You cannot remove him as your wing and cap. Yes, you can make him redundant, but at this point in time, they boxed up at your decks. There's nothing any person will say now. Anything that happens now, Buhari can conveniently exculpate himself and say, I was not around 100 power duly. So the point is, the acting president should not allow those around the presidency to make his tenure difficult and challenging.
Okay. But what it really is there anything that we still need to do? Because I thought that the position we are in now, the situation we are in now, is slightly different from what we had in 2010. In 2010, you had a president that was sick. Nobody knew his status. He didn't hand over and all of that. And then the vice president was also completely phased off from him. We proceeded from there, had the doctrine of necessity, and then we amended the constitution, which paved the way for what we have now. Is there still a problem within the law? Or is there a limit to the powers of the acting president? If he moves against anybody that in the interest of Nigeria ought to be moved against, is there anything that could be held against him?
Well, that takes us back to...
Beyond politics.
Yeah, it takes us back to the question the former, or is it the hanging SGF asked. Who is the presidency? You understand? In 2010, I was of the opinion that we don't even need to amend any constitution. What happened then was politics. And it is the same thing with the amendment that is happening now. The only difference is that there has been transmission officially. Yeah. But is the man truly in power?
The practicality of it.
Is he truly in control? Even the transmission, we saw the controversy the later generated, the words used.
So it's not about our law now.
It's not about law.
It's about us as a person.
It's about application of law. In this country, we have developed the mentality, maybe because of the long military interruptions, the mentality of treating leaders as gods. So once you emerge governor or president, we place you above our law.
Yeah.
We place you above our law, and then,
in fact, you become the law.
with all the constituted authorities, state police, I mean the police, the army, the DSS, and everything, are loyal to the president, not to the nation. Their loyalty is not to the nation, but to the individual. So that is why it is impossible sometimes for the vice to trust that if he takes an action, he won't be killed the next day. We heard rumors during Yaradua's time that they were expecting Goodluck, Jonathan, to sit on the president's chair on a certain day, and if he had done that, they would have killed him for treason immediately. Now you can imagine, it tells you that these people were not loyal to the nation, but to an individual, because just like the Roman emperor, he is the source of all, and he is the end of all in this country. The president
so
can determine.
All of our talk about the presidency being one is just mere talk.
I want to see, I can't make you. It is you that make focus.
Is the presidency just not one coin? That is supposed to have just two sides.
But it's the same there is a point that must be made. There is a point that must be made. The president took an oath to maintain official secrecy. Now, that oath binds him and his vice. Two of them can share that information because it's one office. Now, it is curious as a nation that some presidential aides may even have more information. They may have more information than the vice. That is why they block the vice. The vice may rely on some of them for information.
It is
the
vice that is causing this problem. Only person that is
who is causing the problem?
The vice president. You see, now you have powers. Why I say so that? Why have you not taken? Okay, now the vice president took a major decision when Boko Haram started running his head, ugly heads more often in Borno. He ordered the service chiefs to relocate to Borno.
And they did.
Thank you so much. So now the vice president it's just that all of us are looking at the political correctness of things.
That's the point.
And the survival instinct of me. I don't have to be vice president. The president can come and bring all his problems, and I can withstand him. The vice president as it is now, the acting president as it is, can dissolve this cabinet. The president as it can make fundamental changes to government to move the government. As you already said, in the interest of the nation.
The question is, what does it make him in Nigeria
that
is configured the way it is
office, not the office that makes you. It is what you think that is appropriate at this point in time. If you damn the consequence of politics, because now note something, when the president was away the first time, he commended him when he came back. And knowing who Osinbajo is, Osinbajo will not do things out of the ordinary to undermine the presidency of Buhari, because they have worked so close together to understand and appreciate one another. But the point is that I want to be politically correct. I don't want to rock the boat. If not, why would people that are undermining the president's acting president's power, people that are deliberately like
many of them are not appointed,
but they are known
for any known office. Many of them are also not elected,
but they are known to him. You can shield and fend them off Asuro, and the others will not come down. It is for you to exercise your powers. You cannot just wait in limbo and be a lame dog for any person to just take on. Do your bit. So let the consequences come. So I know you might say this is politics, this is Nigeria.
Yeah.
This might be right. I won't be surprised. Look at the mischief Marafa was trying to make a flop the Senate when he was in London. I said there's no president and there's no vice president in the country. Then the Senate president become acting president.
No, we didn't listen to him to the end.
Very well.
If you listen to him to the end, he was actually arguing the contrary. He was trying to shoot down a proposition that the Senate should move against the executive and make the Senate president the acting president. That was the proposition he was trying to shoot down. People didn't listen to him to the end. I've listened to him to the end, and I found him not culpable.
Now what I want to add is the support of what Oga Godwin have said. I think the vice president is a knowledgeable man in law. He has attained the highest peak.
A professor of law
and a senior advocate.
With specializing on law of evidence.
Good. And a senior advocate. He understands very well that the decision of the Supreme Court in Atiku and Obasanjo has established the fact that the president cannot wake up and sack him. It is only the National Assembly that can remove him by impeachment, or if he resigns or dies. Now, all he needs is to make sure he's acting in line with the law. I do not think that this National Assembly will impeach him for running a poultry, like Enugu State Deputy Governor. So this National Assembly is one that will, they also have their political ambition. I think the only reason why the Vice President will be afraid of acting in his full capacity is if he's eyeing a return as Vice President in 2019 and he doesn't want to be dropped for acting fully as acting President. Forget about 2019. If you are Vice President now, you'll be returned as Vice President in 2019.
After your name.
Why not perform very well as Vice Acting President? Tomorrow, leadership will move to the Southwest. We'll all clamor for you.
He will be breaching one of the laws of power. You don't outshine your master.
He's not outshining. He's not outshining his master. He's not outshining his master. The presidency has made that point very clear. The last time he performed, they said, yes, we are happy Osibanjo performed. It is Buhari who performed.
Professor Oshibade.
Good. It is Buhari who is performing. So it's a team.
Exactly.
It's a team. And as a second man, whatever you do to push your team forward, the team takes the credit.
All right.
You won't come tomorrow and say, I made Buhari government successful. No, that will be when you're taking the shine. But work and give the credit to the president. Everybody knows we use our tongue to counter our tweets.
Okay. If only the cabal, the members of the cabal in the seat of power,
he should remove them.
We allow,
he should remove them.
Do that.
He should remove them, change
right.
ministers, change aides. When the president comes, if he still need them, he bring them back. Tell them all to go on vacation. I have my own aides. You're not doing anything in the villa. When the president returns, you come back.
Okay,
it's simple.
All right.
You can't have contending powers within a boat. A house divided against itself cannot stand.
All right, I'm going to move to one issue that may be a little bit controversial, but because we are lawyers, I'm going to seek your intervention in that. But let me read a few tweets. Ogabega, it's clear that the acting president is not in control and cannot be in control, so Oshibanjo should go. Yeah. That's not what we said, though. That's a few you are your own.
Everybody should go. Some people are saying president should go yesterday. Now Oshibanjo should go.
Negedu Victor James says it's bad that there is a miscommunication between the vice and the president. The Tayo Akemi says Chief Benga Loretta media aid to the president's speech yesterday is a big slap on the face of the Nigerian people. I don't want to just join the issue with Loretta. Esther Bong kindly have acting president Oshibanjo to General Olubajowa for the incumbent powers of acting office holder in this same Nigeria. Okolo Chukwunyere, this is not about Buhari or APC. Even PDP will do the same tomorrow. The truth is that we have selfish, greedy, and wicked leaders in this country. Simple. Then Dele Jackson mentioned, restructuring remains the only panacea to various agitations and deep-seated anger that have stoked tension and prevented Nigeria from moving forward. Theodore Okereke, Nigeria is a moving ship without a captain. And then Theodore Okereke says, Benga Oshibanjo is just a ceremonial acting president. Nigeria is not working. Okay. All right, keep the conversation going. Let's do that. I said I was going to raise a controversial issue. And I'm doing so because we are lawyers. If you stand surety for somebody for bail, what responsibilities does that impose on you if the person you are standing surety for is going against the substance of the court order? Let me not speak in abstract form. I'm saying this in relation to Nnamdi Kanu. It's all over the place. I listened to his comment on the Ozubudu killing yesterday. Very disgusting. It's been going all over the place, issuing threats everywhere. Nobody is saying anything, including those who came to court to sign his bail bond and can read clearly from the bail bond the terms of the order. What he should do, what he should not do, what he can do and what he cannot do.
The bail condition of Nnamdi Kanu is a bit outside what we call the normal convention. That is the basic thing is when you stand shorty, you are not to control or guide the person on fulfilling bail condition. When you stand shorty, your major obligation, your major responsibility is to produce the person whenever he's called upon by the court. The consequence of what Nnamdi Kanu is doing is going to be faced when he goes to court.
Only himself.
Only him and him alone. The shorties cannot do that. Mine is that, yes, okay, let me know if I use it as the big guy started shorty for me. Yeah. The next adjourned date is to guarantee that every other adjourned date of hearing, I'll be present in court to face my trial. Peradventure, I am not in court, then you should be able to produce me. It's when you cannot produce me that you cannot bear the consequence. So the shorties have nothing to do. They cannot bear his cross. They cannot teleguide him or he'll be held for what he's doing contrary to its express bail condition. I know what he's doing, and all these things points to the fact that because the nation is, will I say, the fear we have expressed
going through
during this period of uncertainty, because you don't have an effective head. That is why Nnamdi Kanu can do what he is doing, or every other person, otherwise you can issue quick notice, or do the Republic come and say this is what you want. Because you don't have an effective, because the vice president is more or less caged and cannot take executive position the way he ought to take. But I'm sure Nnamdi Kanu and there are certain things that you don't just breach the law for the sake that I can do what I can do. Yes, we
or if you do it, some other people will rise to your defense.
Exactly.
And all of
we
that.
concede to his agitation. I can give him as well as Garba rightly says, what is the essence of democracy without freedom of speech? Yes, you can say whatever you want to say, but say in the context of where you can bring everybody together, and not in the context
but does that freedom of a citizen allow that citizen to say, I will not allow election to hold?
That's what I'm saying. There's a limit to freedom of expression. There's no law that does not have a limitation.
Or there's no right that doesn't have an end. Not even right to life.
That is why I'm now saying that the consequence of whatever he's doing will come to bear when the case comes up for hearing.
Even right to life has a clawback. It can be denied. Lawfully.
Yeah. Now look at Catalonia.
So there's no right that is absolute.
Yeah, you look at the Catalans in Spain, they want to be an independent country. You look at Scotland, they want to be a country, but there are no threats of violence and killing. So Nnamdi Kanu, like any other Nigerian, has a right to say, if he has control of a region, has a right to say, we want to have a country. Now, how you go about that shouldn't be violently. Now, it should be, he and any other person should be open to negotiation. For me, I think the best path forward is restructuring. I love Nigeria. Presently, there's a lot of injustice going on, but we can address it. The injustices developed over time. My major worry, however, is not even the call for secession and all that. It is when people begin to sing songs and inciting hate,
I'm coming to
genocide.
That. Yes,
that
which is
when you throw
the coin up, the other side of it is also ugly.
I expect
those people who have watched songs that are preaching hate and are calling on their fellow
to kill
other Nigerians.
I thought that by now
and
they should be
security
in
agencies
detention.
Are pretending as if they don't know them.
They are playing politics.
Some of them, governors have been playing host to them and
bribing them not to sing.
No, persuading them.
So you can imagine. Wait,
that's the other side of the coin, which I also
are we serious as a country?
Like you to comment about. We can also close our eyes to what some people in the name of Arewa Republic or Arewa youth are doing.
Posts a criticism against a governor on Twitter, on
they
Facebook,
will fish you out.
They will arrest you immediately.
Wherever you are,
now
they will
this
fish
is
you
a
out.
song that has gone viral across the north, and nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened.
Nothing.
And October 1 is drawing near.
When those gentlemen, I don't know if it's proper to call them gentlemen, issued a quick notice. When El-Rufai said they should be arrested, you could see that immediately they went and released a video retracting their notice. But gradually they started getting some form of support. They became bold.
When some leaders started supporting them.
They became bold, and now are even calling for meetings, negotiation. Why wouldn't a singer
they are reviewing whether to review the ultimatum.
Why wouldn't a singer compose a song and call for the killing of people? This was how Rwanda started.
I agree with you, but
we are on the road to Rwanda.
But we will not get there. You know why I say we will not get there? All these rituals you are putting on and the wonderful job people are doing every day, bringing it to the fore. Whether I like it or not, I think things are done. But let us look at something very fundamental. Before now, I'm sure, yes, you have heard songs, we have heard obvious videos because it was giving national publicity. And I'm sure also you have heard what Nnamdi Kanu has radio and Biafra television will out from time to time. The threat, Biafra radio, the threat, the
vile language.
Thank you. You just said something. His speech or statement about Ozobolo is disgusting that even you, Benga, cannot even sit on air. You must, so every action there's always a reaction. This is not just something that's starting from the north alone. Let us put it in proper perspective. But that is not to say it is right. Let us put it in proper perspective. What you are hearing in the north now because of the national prominence has got it because it was said and pronounced in Nigeria. Unlike Nnamdi Kanu, that most often people that listen to them are people from the southeast or that I don't even know the channel of their radio. But he says worse than that on air. But that is not supposed to be what we should encourage at all costs. That is where, as you said now, we shouldn't fold our arms. There should be definite pronouncement by the security apparatus. And again, that is where...
It shouldn't be where the first blood has been shed.
Exactly.
Then we begin to...
My point is... I want to just, let me conclude if you don't mind. What I'm just saying, that is the fear we have expressed here. If you had a president who will now be pushing that, this is what is happening on the ground. But the acting president for a CGSC cannot say much. If I say that, I say, okay, because the president is not around now.
It's people too are calling for Odua Republic.
Exactly. So this is where he should now, as you pointed out here, damn the consequences. You cannot be removed by President Buhari. Take necessary action that will unify the country and that will bring people to order. You cannot come and sit down because Anango Abdullahi talks and said he's supporting the youth, no arrest person that makes such inciting statement. And as really pointed out, if they are moved against them immediately at that point in time, they wouldn't have fallen down. They would have known what to do. And these meetings and this negotiation wouldn't have been. But because he chickened out, at that point, that was not supposed to be SSS or governor's calling. It's a threat to the nation entirely. A whole region is being given quick notice by a set of, let me not use any inappropriate words here, and people that we don't even know before now. Because of one backing or the other, they used a statement on national television, and the president did not say anything. And what did they say? That people are calling for restructuring, are asking for appointment, or looking for appointment. That's why Fanika Adeku joined the issue team as the way he did. This is where he should act as a statesman. This is where interests of politics and office should not be your paramount interest now, but the survival of Nigeria. Because at the end of the day, if peradventure will go the road of Rwanda, where will be the presidency or where will be the vice presidency? Even if you can successfully go abroad, what about your kinsmen, your loved ones around you? So we must take action, and that's where I call on the vice president to act as the acting president and take decisive steps. As you rightly pointed out, October 1 is just by the corner. Yeah. We're in August. Any moment from now, we are going to September now. What are we saying? Why have nothing been done? Now songs are being watched. Nandi Kano Radio Biafra is still on air, milling out all this statement. Action should be taken and people should be called to book.
But the call is that of the acting president.
Well,
He's the chief executive officer of Nigeria. He's the chief security officer of Nigeria. He's the commander. Is he the commander in chief?
He's the commander in chief.
No, he's not right now. The president
or acting commander in chief.
Acting commander in chief. That is what he is. He's not the commander.
Okay, he's acting commander in chief. Yeah. So let him chiefly command well. Or what Professor Kanasu help us out?
I'd like to react a little to some of the comments about Nnamdi Kanu's provocative statements.
Yeah. And Arewa youths road to perfidy as well.
Nigeria presently, whether it is written or not, has 6 sub-regions. Right? Whether written or not, have 6 sub-regions. Nnamdi Kanu is from 1, and then the Arewa people are from 1. So that is 2, right? Now, the Arewa, as it was, is no longer the way it is. We see that there's not central now that seek to be independent of view or political expressions from the core north. Now, even Nnamdi Kanu made provocative statement. Did he address it to the northwest? Why didn't the southeast, the south-south react to him and also threaten to kill? Why didn't the southwest react and threaten to kill? When they say the country is not working, has anybody referred to the northwest? Why is the northwest taking it to heart whenever someone says something is wrong? That is my basic concern. Why should the counter threats emanate from northwest? Why? That is what I don't understand, because if someone is saying, I don't want to be in Nigeria, Nigeria is not working, and then Northwest is reacting on behalf of the rest of Nigeria, it seems to me that it's Northwest that is Nigeria. So I was born in the Northwest. I grew up in the North. I love the North. But it is all this crisis that made me move down to Abuja. You understand? Good. Now, there is no better country than Nigeria. However, the system is so corrupted from its foundation. So we need to go back to our basics.
That takes us to how to make Nigeria work.
Good.
All of these are happening because Nigeria is not working.
Yes.
The agitations for restructuring had been on. And then, luckily enough for us as a people, the hand of God is always upon this country. Yeah. We never deduced the naysayers are almost getting it right. God will just say, no, it's not going to happen to my people. And we are getting into the precipice. That hand of God will just pull us back. It does coincide with the opportunity of a constitutional amendment process going on in the National Assembly. A lot of people have thought that this is God's own making to allow a constitutional process that is already on ground to take charge of all of this agitation. But we seem to have missed that again, even though we are being assured that it's not all lost hope yet.
Exactly. I just hope the key into it. And I mean, what will come later is...
Can the National Assembly rise up to the occasion and take charge of all of this?
Unfortunately, we must consider something. The sentiment at this point in time is just so broad that people are not letting rational thoughts prevail, but just sentiments and emotion, unfortunately. They are supposed to be leaders in the National Assembly that should have thought this through and not think about just themselves. So the issue of devolution of power that was missed by the National Assembly is very unfortunate. But I'm so happy also, because that's what I was trying to say, that the things that come later are better than the first ones that are prevailing. Now the Senate President and even the National Assembly itself are saying, no, we can go back to the issue of devolution of power again. And because...
Why did they not understand the issues
you see, that's why I say,
in the proper context in the first place?
If you see, it was an agitation or like a fight between the North and the South. And the North, unfortunately, did not think it. People keep on saying, Adebanjo, keep on saying something. Before 1966, what were we practicing? That's a question that nobody has even agreed to answer. Maybe because now benefit or don't benefit have been shifted to his side now. Before 1966 coup, what were we practicing? Were we practicing a unitary system of government? We were practicing where the federation will sit there and come out. It was the resources we are getting that they not. So you cannot even say any region is poor per se. They not had an Ahmadu Bello University, Ahmadu Bello Stadium, other gains from their own resources that they had. We had cuttings. We had a lot of things that we were growing up in, but not because of free oil money. So let's go back to that. That's what everybody is saying. So now, if today, because of the present crop of leaders in the North that have enjoyed every benefit from oil, I find it very difficult to let them just go back to their history a bit and say, we can survive without this. For them to now say, we'll go back, though I must concede and agree with you that it is very, very unfortunate and nothing true. But it's just like a competition. We are fighting. I cannot let go. If I let go, my people will team and we look at something very fundamental. The Constitutional Conference, they sat down, discussed devolution of powers, and agreed. All of them, after a while, 2-3 years down the line, some set of persons will come and sit down and say what they did.
What has happened between 2014 and now? 2014 when the confab took place.
And now that you now sit down shamelessly to tell the whole world that you are reneging on what was agreed upon by you, not under gunpoint, but in the full glow of everybody. But we are now seeing that you cannot keep on a structure that everybody is clamoring for change. Fortunately, Amakura said did not too soon come out with their position on restructuring. Whatever it is, yes, let's give them the benefit of that. But as it is now, every person is clamoring for restructuring, which is in the nomenclature. It could be fiscal federalism, true federalism, whatever it is. But you see, the context of what we want to restructure is the problem. You listen recently to the governor of Benue State, I was saying, former governor of Benue State, Suswan, I said, what are you talking about? Going back to region? I'm not in support of that. If you're talking about fiscal federalism, it's what we will do. So we are even the nitty-gritty of what we want and not being on the table. But let us even agree that let us deal with what is on the ground. Because the equitable, the way and manner we are distributing wealth in this country cannot sustain the present state in Nigeria.
All right, let me read some tweets before I get back to Barrister on whether what has played out in the National Assembly is a lost chance and all of that. How do we, because from the way the leaders of the National Assembly have been speaking after that fiasco, is like some of them now probably seem to be having a rethink. But is that enough? What about those that are not speaking up? Because it is those that are not even speaking that are more dangerous. And they are believed to have been the ones that have torpedoed the ship of the state on this issue. Let me read a few tweets. Emmanuel Ebeshi says, Middle Belt Jews Initiative has issued Hesman's ultimatum to vacate Middle Belt by October 1st of phase 1. Is that so? This one that everybody is issuing threats. You are not aware. Okay, not that everybody is issuing threats. Maybe it's time for the people of Ikere Ekiti State to issue a threat to both APC and PDP to make Ikere the next governor of Ekiti State. Otherwise,
they should vacate.
They should vacate the state for us. Okay, now.
Well, we're laughing about this, but it's
okay. Let me allow you. I was going to read more tweets, but
no, go ahead.
Okay. Tayo Akiyebi says, devolution of power for states will solve some of these agitations in various regions of the country. The Senate hasn't done well. Okay. Okpanka, the cry for Biafra or restructuring is a call for freedom. Biafra is a symptom for the problem of Nigeria. It's not. We are all Biafrans.
Yeah, it's a state of
So
mind.
long as Biafra, for me, represents the need for equity,
Yeah,
the need for justice,
yeah,
and the need for a sense of belonging in Nigeria. We are all Biafrans.
It's a state of mind.
It's
It's not a
not Nnamdi
geographical
Kanu's matter.
expression. It's not about a geographical location.
Exactly.
The state of mind is a call for
Restructuring for equity.
a paradigm shift from what we have
It's a
now.
call to make Nigeria work.
Yes, and if that is what it represents, I will.
To that extent, we are all Biafrans.
Yeah, I will wholeheartedly support it. But I don't want to want to have a visa to come and see my friends in the north, or going to see Mr. Ogboji.
Mr. Ogboji's state will be part of Biafra.
They said they won't. So now the point really about the Senate is that you don't expect a man who lives in a glass house to throw stones, right? The present constitutional amendment is actually basically a power grab. They're just concentrating power now on themselves to have control.
Yeah.
Now, nobody who has led this country should even have a say in how we should restructure, or even the present governor, because whenever you present them this opportunity, they think of how they can benefit. That is why Suswan can come up and tell you he does not support regionalism, because he wants to continue being former governor of Benue State and be getting those pensions and whatever comes from it. That is why a governor at Makura will tell you Nasarawa State will come up, or is it the North? Does he represent the true interest of Northerners? Has he delivered the true dividend of democracy to people of Nasarawa State? What have they got to say about him as their leader? Now, the truth, also another truth that we must all accept, is that the last federal constitution in this country was the 1963 constitution. Any other thing after that?
That's the Republican Constitution.
Yes. Yeah. Any other thing after that was modeled after the unitary system introduced by Godwin Ogboji.
The military rule
Yes.
of that period.
And every other thing. No constitution have survived the Constitutional Conference untainted. After the people have gathered and come up with a document, the military junta will still add a few things. And then it has been like that. That is why,
in actual fact, the conferences are usually composed
by the
and inaugurated against the background of no-go areas.
Yes.
That
So
are clearly spelled out.
if you go here,
All like the
I will not
2014
approve it.
Constitutional Conference.
Even the
It had
2014
no-go areas.
no-go areas.
There were no-go areas.
Non-negotiable Nigeria.
And that is why I also do not support even that Constitutional Conference. If we want to truly fix the problems of this country, it's not for any governor to get up and tell us this or that or that. We should relapse to where we lost direction. Go back to 1963, go back to regional system, let the regions contribute 50% of their resources to the center, and then let's start from there.
There are people who will tell you that there's a sense of they have a sense of belonging now to governance than it was in
We can
imagine
rejig
somebody that has anything to do with governance now. In Ekiti State, for instance, we travel all the way from Ado Ekiti or Ikere Ekiti and go to Ibadan. That will likely be a regional headquarters.
We can rejig it.
Or do we make the existing states centers of administration?
No. We can rejig it.
Within the
If
context.
you go back to 1963, you will see that there was no North Central. It was not.
Yes.
There was no South or what you call
it was
Southeast.
We had Midwest
and then
we have Southeast.
Good. So there are things there are recent developments that must be taken into consideration. If we say let's go back to 1963 Constitution, it doesn't mean we'll bring it the way it was. There must be some little modification to reflect the realities of our present day. But the basics is that Constitution was agreed upon by our leaders. It wasn't foisted on people. It was agreed upon. It wasn't forced. Even the mode of the fiscal federalism was agreed upon. Now look at what the military did over time, from 50% to 1 point something percent derivation. So you can see that power was gradually concentrated in the center because the military operate by a single authority. So they concentrated power to the military head over time. And the presidency now, enjoying that military kind of power, will not want to let go. And that is why you see that the National Assembly is also not working.
But the people who are in the National Assembly came from different...
Exactly.
Where those powers will be devolved to.
How can they function?
It will serve their interest when the state has more resources to attend to the problem. So you don't bother your head coming to Abuja as a senator to come and be agitating for constituency projects.
We don't need,
but you see,
because
the state already have sufficient...
I hear what you are saying.
We just have one... We just have one National Assembly in the center, which will comprise of representatives from the various regions. You don't need a bicameral legislature at the center. Then you have regional houses of assembly. We can decide to have 15 regions. It's still cheaper than having 36 states. You understand? We can decide to have 20 regions. It's still going to be cheaper because you will not have this crazy, because that system, 1963, wasn't a presidential system. It's parliamentary system of governance. And parliamentary system of governance reduces cost of running the states.
First of all, two arms of government are merged in one.
Good.
Executive
and parliament.
Executive and legislature are merged almost
as one. You see, you cut cost. And then you can also, this civil service that we have that is uncontrollable, the federal government will have a manageable civil service. The bulk of civil servants will be maintained by the regional governments. So the country is progressing as if we're crazy.
You won't need a federal minister. You won't need a federal minister of transport
and education
that is looking after east-west road from Abuja.
Yes, a minister of education that does not know whether there is a classroom in Kaurana Moda.
Federal government college.
Unnecessary duplication of some ministries. The state ministry should handle these things.
Something recently.
Final comment.
Adam Oshimole said something that no constitution is perfect. Every person work within the peculiarities of their environment. Yes, we can rule out all those things, but the practicality might be different and difficult and challenging. So we must take into cognizance. It's not the way we are saying regional government, everything will be a smooth ride. Most important, the bottom line is just good leadership. If you have good leadership that is selfless, that thinks more of the people, you will not even be talking about a decision for Biafra. As you rightly pointed out, if you have a leadership that promotes equity and justice, where you have a sense of belonging, we don't bother who is the president of Nigeria. If you look at private businesses that is run by individuals and families, but they give people what they are due, nobody talks about it. So if we can have good leadership that is selfless, that can promote Nigeria's interests beyond not this agitation of somebody buying a yacht of 80 million naira, and you are just before you are heard your intro, somebody building a house from Nigerian Commonwealth. What are you using all those resources for? It is just to plug back to the country and all of us enjoy the
just a final point. Just 1 minute.
No.
1 minute,
10
please.
seconds.
Okay, 10 seconds. Now, good leadership does not emanate from a bad system.
Okay.
Once you have good system, good leadership will follow. We must fix the system to have good leaders. You may have the best leader in a bad system and he'll be a bad leader.
Obaje Abel Ayegba is asking a very serious question. Please, Benga, how can we sack the Senate? They are our major problem. Recall your senator first.
Can they do that?
That will be less one.
When did they still in court? You have 90 days and still in court.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate your finding time to be here this morning. I'll be joined this morning's conversation by two eminent legal practitioners here in Abuja. Godwin Ogboji, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Silas Onu, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. The course are on vacation, so
but
you guys are looking very...
We are not on vacation.
Very refreshed.
My guy is still looking for more. I'm also looking for more.
I'll see you tomorrow. Do enjoy the rest of the day.